Hey everybody, it's Matthew back. So this is going to be episode 2 for today. Once again, today is Sunday, May the 1st, and this video probably won't be uploaded until, let's say, Thursday. So this one is going to be the Q&A video. So I've received, several questions over the weeks, and I decided to go back, write down a few of them, and I'm going to go ahead and answer, just again, I don't want to be answering 10, 20 questions, not in one video, because that's probably going to be like an hour-long video or so if I went to and did that. So I figured, you know what, I'll take about 4 or 5 questions, and that way we'll try and see how well these videos do. If more people want to send more questions in, I'll make more videos. That to me, that seems like a fun idea. So, so the first question that was asked of me is Random Treasures really that cheap? So, when it comes to random treasures, I kind of look at it this way. It's not 1984 anymore. You're not going to go to Kmart or KB Toys, Toys R Us, something like that. You're not going to find a brand new packaged LJN figure for $4.99 or $7.99 or whatever the price they were back in the day. So based on today's market for LJN figures, yes, they are more affordable. Are they cheap? I would never say that the Ram Treasure figures are cheap. Again, therefore, those figures are mostly based on those who are, I don't want to say financially sound, because, anybody could be, financially sound. That's what credit cards are for. Don't use credit cards all the time, guys. Not unless you can actually make your payments immediately. That's just me. I hate owing money, so I try not to, obviously spend more than I can afford. But, they're not going to be figures that you buy and, you give to your kids for play and stuff. They're for folks like myself who are simply going to enjoy them, put them on the shelves for display purposes, maybe make videos, that way other people get the opportunity to see this amazing artwork and new characters that may not have otherwise existed. Are they cheap? No. Are they affordable? When you compare them to, other listings, I got a perfect example right here. Rick Rude. So, the dirtiest, most jacked up figure of Rick Rude, we're talking massive paint loss, maybe, paint loss in the hair, toes are all dirty and jacked up, maybe bite marks. That figure is going to sell for anywhere between $150 to $300, and that's not even an exaggeration. Generally, let's say around $250. Now, you can get a mint condition Rick Rude for $130, whereas you're paying, over $100 more for the original. So, as far as market value, 1,000,000%, Random Treasures is definitely much more affordable than what you're going to find for these other products. Now, that being said, some people might argue, well, if you've got a decent shape Rick Rude, maybe it's got a little bit dirt on his feet with maybe some paint loss, a little bit, selling for $150 on auction, is it not better to buy the original for $150 as opposed to the Random Treasures mint condition for $130? Some people, though, I kind of thought about that, when I was looking at the Ultimate Warrior, and I was kind of contemplating if I wanted to spend $300 for an original or the $130 on the Ram Treasures version. At the end of the day, you spend $130, guess what? You're able to buy 2, even close to 3 additional figures for that same price that you would have paid on one figure, so I'm 1,000,000% satisfied with what I get from Random Treasures. Like I said, their artwork is absolutely amazing and 100% identical to the original. Sometimes, obviously, the color scheme doesn't quite match up. I don't see if I got okay, so here's an original figure. So you could see the difference in color of the actual figures. But other than that, you're getting a perfect replica of the original. And like I said, most of us, unless you plan on reselling them, which for us, like for me, any custom figure I buy, I always said they're going to stay with me until the day I die. These are for my personal collection, for my personal happiness. So I hope that answers that question. Um, you can find some Series 6 Black Card series for a reasonable price. Maybe if you could come in at 150 or so. But again, you got to ask yourself if you'd rather have them in condition for, tens of dollars cheaper, or if you'd rather have the more beat up one and just be able to claim that you have an original. So with that being said, to any buyer, any collector looking for figures, or something for a collection, or if you just simply want to buy, and it's not just Series 6. I mean, obviously, I mentioned they have their own exclusive figures. They have figures like Kamala and Harley Race, Honky Tonk Man. So, and you get those figures, and like Honky Tonk Man, you might get a guitar to come with it. So, you go to find a beat up blue-faced Honky Tonk Man online, and it doesn't always come with the accessories. So, in a nutshell, yes, Random Treasures. Are they cheap? No. Are they much more affordable? Light years more affordable than what the market value is for these particular figures. So the second question that was asked of me, this is work related question, is Akima Technical Solutions really a bad place to work? So when I did my video in regards to the different companies I've worked for, I kind of downplayed the significance of how bad some of the companies were. Reason being, you never know if or when you will ever have to work for that company or one of its subcontractors in the future. So let's say, I work for Mantech, and let's say it was a horrible experience. I can't come online and be like, yeah, Mantech was garbage, and then, years down the road want to apply to them and expect them to want to hire me, because if they do their diligence, they might find these videos and be like, okay, well, you ridiculed us publicly, why would we want to hire you? So again, you don't want to ridicule your employer. I have always said, Raytheon, it's one of the best companies I've ever worked for, but it's like a house. You could find the most perfect house you've ever seen. You're still going to find a million things wrong with it. So, with companies, no different. I love Raytheon. I mean, I could find faults here and there, but I mean, overall experience was phenomenal. I still recommend it above any other company. Akima, I don't necessarily think I'm ever going to go for that company again. The overall experience was just terrible. Everything from orientation, the onboarding process, trying to get your medical records up to date, signing up for your direct deposits, your 401k, things like that. HR folks, they sit in their office all day, don't really check on you, maybe once towards the end of the day. When you get to your actual, like for me, I was in Iraq, so when I deployed to Iraq, I kind of sat in the airport for an hour waiting for my ride to show up, and I contacted them several times. So, and you have these leads. Sometimes you have amazing managers, and they're inspirational, and they make you better. You make you go above and beyond expectations. But then you have those that kind of beat you down till you have no choice but to kind of like either give in or leave. Me, I have enough experience in this life where I've been doing the job, overseas contractor for over a decade. As a professional, as someone who's worked hard to get his education level up, near the very top. I know now that I don't have to basically put up with that stuff. And yeah, Akima Technical Solutions, I downplayed it in the first video. Didn't really mention, I mentioned some bad things, but I didn't really go too in depth as far as some of the hardships that they put their employees through. And of course, some of the things that they do is criminal. So when you're deployed, you make a certain amount of money. That's in the contract. But I mean, if you go over that percentage, which is possible based on the amount of hours you work, with this company, let's say they offer a contract for $100,000. Now, let's say you make that 100,000 in 7 months. Just throw out a number. They'll try and reduce your amount of money so that you only end up with that 100,000 over the full 12 months. So you're actually making less than what you're supposed to. So it's kind of a slap in the face. And then that's with pay. I mean, you're talking about people's livelihoods. So, criminal activity like that. I mean, most people, especially if it's their first contract gig, yeah, they're gonna suck it up because they don't know any better. Uh, Someone who's worked for so many companies, who's been deployed so many times, I knew what to expect. I knew the right questions to ask, and leadership, they hated that. Something as simple as asking for work boots or something. You know what your benefits are, and because they don't want to, because leadership doesn't want to take the time out to make a 5 to 10 second phone call to get an answer. It was just horrible. Would I recommend that company to anybody? No, not in a million years. Uh, if I didn't have a job for 2 years and I was desperate for income, I would if I had no choice in the matter. You got a family to support. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. If it's your first contract gig and you're just, but then again, the reason I still wouldn't recommend it for a first timer is because that's going to be your experience. That's what you're going to think all businesses or all companies are like, and you don't want to do that. That's really going to hurt your mindset. My first foray into contracting was in Kuwait, and low pay. Twice what I was making in the Army, sure, but was it worth being away from your family for that small amount of money? And when I went back to Kuwait, years later for another company, I thought same thing. I'm not going to make any money out here. There's no point to it. And it turns out I actually made a whole lot more than I could have ever imagined. So it depends on the businesses you work for. Akima, subcontractor Lockheed Martin, you would think that as the parent company, they would hold them more in check, hold them more responsible. But again, they are their own company, so subcontractor or not, there's a reason that not many people have heard of that company, and why it's hard for them to hold on to employees. Nobody wants to work for employees that they treated the way they do, essentially. And me, I'm happy with the amount of time I spent there because on a daily basis I come into the office, and you walk into work on in the morning time. People are smiling, they're happy. The work hasn't started yet. They're excited just to chit chat and whatnot. And when you walk into that office environment, everybody's heads are down. They're frowning. Some of them look angry. Before the work has even started, people are already down and demotivated, and that is possibly the worst environment I've ever seen. And it's because of leadership, the way that they treat their employees. It's just terrible. And that's why I kind of like refuse now. Well, I don't want to say refuse, but it's why I'm kind of looking for a managerial role, because I want to be able to provide that type of leadership, and kind of, build morale around the workplace. Let people know that, hey, there are other options, and being abused like that is just not one of them. So, is Akima Technical Solutions really that bad? Short answer, guys, yes. I know a lot of these questions I could probably answer in like a sentence or two, but again, that would make this like a 2-minute video, so I'm trying to go in depth as much as I can and make this video worthwhile. So the third question here is, what do you like to watch? So TV was, I grew up watching the WB, and of course the WB transitioned into the CW. I always thought, the W had the greatest shows, the greatest lineup of shows of any other network. No other network could ever come close. So yeah, I still kind of, I still gravitate towards the CW. Of course, AMC and FX has great shows as well. And, I love shows like, Sons of Anarchy and Dexter. I think, Buffy the Vampire Slayer will always be my number one favorite show regardless. But shows like that are really phenomenal. Since we're on YouTube, we'll talk about YouTube channels. I've mentioned, the New '80s Revolution. I watch that show religiously. It's just one of the most enjoyable. Guys, think of it this way. Last week, I spent about 10 minutes. I spent about 10 minutes watching a grown man make himself a sandwich. And I sat there thinking to myself, what am I watching? But, it was just an entertaining video. I kind of saw myself in him a lot. And I'm like, dude, that's exactly how I am. It's nice to know that I'm not alone and that other people kind of have like the same experiences. But New '80s Revolution is fantastic. So another one that I really love. I used to watch videos in the past, but I subscribed to like a million different things, so the videos feeds haven't really been popping up on my home screen, home channel. So I had to go searching for it, and I finally came across it again. And Bone Breaking Action. So Bone Breaking Action is one of the most hilarious shows you will see. TV, YouTube, it doesn't matter. This stuff is phenomenal. And this is what I love about Bone Breaking Action. It kind of reminds me of Trey Parker's and Matt Stone's Team America movie back in I think it was 2004 or something. So anyone that remembers that movie, you had animation. It was puppets, but you could actually see the strings dangling from the heads and arms and legs of the puppets. So even though it was animation, they still kind of made it portrayed it like it was an actual puppeteer or something. Bone Breaking Action, it's like a animated CGI wrestling figures. What he does is he takes Hasbro or Mattel Retro WWF figures, and they have their matches. No string attachment. There's no hands. You don't actually see the play like that. It's actual CGI stuff. I'm not tech savvy at all, and I have no clue how to do. I would never in a million years be able to come up with something that brilliant. This is a guy I wish I could collaborate with. I mean, that right there, I would love to know how to do that, because that's actually something I was thinking of, but I never could have the know-how on how to do something like that. And you don't have to be a fan of wrestling. You just got to be a fan of comedy, guys. I mean, his commentary is absolutely priceless. As much as I used to love, Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan going back to back during wrestling matches, during live action matches, that commentary is just, it's so impactful. There's just so much energy, it's so much enthusiasm, and like I said, the commentary is just absolutely brilliant. So when it comes to YouTube, that's one of my favorite channels on there. Up until, let's say, 2020 or so, I didn't really watch YouTube like that. Occasionally I come in if I wanted to listen to a specific song, or if there was like a scene from a movie or TV show, I would use YouTube to look that up. But I didn't really, use YouTube to follow different content makers or anything like that. One of the first people I ever familiarized myself with was a Sniper Wolf. Super cute. I love her to death. Funny as hell. A lot of her videos, they start to become, redundant. Hey, she does what works, what brings in the fans. So I can't blame her. But then she started teaming up with Darman, and his stuff is just crap. So that kind of took it away from me. Xenoshot on YouTube is really phenomenal. Another one I absolutely love that was hilarious that I haven't seen any of his videos in quite a while was Easy Swish Sniper. Again, brilliant. A lot of these content makers, they don't or Sensitive Society, they don't put their face on the screen and talk to you guys. They put up video games or something, and they do these little walkthrough plays, and have their little inserts in the screens, little video playbacks. But those channels are absolutely amazing. Love them. Funny, and you wonder why they end up with 500,000 to 1 million subscribers, because their stuff is incredible. So yeah, that's some of the stuff I watch on YouTube. Again, I'm a horror fan, movie wise, so I always will gravitate towards any of the stuff that's sci-fi or horror related. So the next question that's asked of me, and this is probably gonna be the last question, guys. If this video does well, if people have interest, I'll come back and make some more, answer some more questions. But I'm gonna stop here. What are the most overpriced figures? So I did go ahead and I did pull several figures off the shelves, just as a kind of like a reference point. So we'll start with my favorite toy line, or the toy line I grew up with. So one of them is going to be, let's say, Hacksaw Jim Duggan from Series 10. Generally, so when I think of this figure, it's just the exact duplicate of Series 2, except he's got blonde hair instead of brown hair. Obviously, he's got a repaint here. They still keep the blue trunks, but they add a blue shirt with the flag, and obviously they change the blue knee pads to white with the little American. So I generally think of this as about a $30 figure, and on occasion, I've seen this guy sell for, on auction, $60 to $100, $105, $110. Love the figure. It's definitely one of my favorites, and even though the original Series 2 figure is on my top 10 list of least favorite, and that's just because I really gotta choose a figure. That's why I chose him on my list. This one is actually one of my favorites because it's not just a simple, blue trunk and that's it figure. He actually has color and some, clothing to actually really make him pop. Love the figure. Again, it's a $30 figure and it sells for over $100 at times. Ridiculous. So that's one of those figures that I think is severely overpriced. Another one that I grabbed are the Nasty Boys. Again, the Nasty Boy figures, in my opinion, are two of the greatest Hasbro figures ever created. Without a shadow of a doubt. These figures here, well, these aren't the ones I'm selling, but I do have, several duplicate Nasty Boys, and they're either mint or as close to mint as can be expected, And, I put them on eBay. I don't like doing. I absolutely hate doing auctions because you never know what you're gonna get for them. So I put them on auction or buy it now for $75. After a month you might get like 150, 175, even 200 views. You might have 3 to 5 watchers, but nobody really ever makes an offer. Or if they do, they come in way under. So $75, nobody ever wants to buy it. Yet you go to certain sellers, who do sell these. Andrew Todd Martin is a great one. He's one of my favorites. You go to his site, for example, and on auction, you start off at 99 cents. These guys end up selling for $150, $175. And yeah, it makes me mad because why are you guys willing to spend $150 on a pair of figures when you could have paid half the price and got the same, if not better quality? So right now what I've started doing is changing a lot of my buy it nows on eBay. And I'm going to try and do auction style for a little bit at a time and try and hopefully increase my my eyesight on my page, get more followers, and I'm hoping that increases my my ability to sell my products for a better price. But again, I mentioned him before, Andrew Todd Martin. If you need Hasbro figures, definitely one of the best sellers. Absolutely love his shop and the quality of his products. But these are not $150 products. I'm sorry. $60 in my opinion would be a fair price for the dual set. I mean, 4-inch plastic figures for $30. I think that's pushing it. So that's an overpriced figure. This one's Random Treasures, but I pulled it off as an example. So the original LJN referee. Normally, these things don't necessarily come in mint per se, but they come close to mint as can be expected, and they go for $150 to $250. The Series 6 figures that sell for that amount of money, maybe because they're super rare, I can understand, but Series 5, a whole lot more common, and you got a referee that sells for $200. This is why I'm talking about why Random Treasures is such a great shop to buy at, because you're going to get this mint condition figure for, and I think referee's a little bit cheaper. I don't think you would pay $130 for referee. I don't remember the exact price for each figure. That's why I just kind of give a generic price of $130 for everyone, because that's about right. Plus, they give you the little coupons, so you save 10% off your figures and basically off your entire purchase. So if I go in and spend $800 on something, I know 10% off, I'm gonna get everything for about $720 before taxes and free shipping. So, I mean, there are definitely benefits to going through Random Treasures every time for figures like these. Love the referee figure. I think the referee figure is better than most, regular LJN wrestlers, but $200 for a referee? No. At best. At best, $50, and I think even that would be pushing it. It's really hard to think of these guys. They used to sell for like $7, selling for $20 today, let alone $220. I mentioned it before, Rick Rude. To me, because he's LJN, he's bigger, he's rubber. That to me makes the figure a little bit better in my eyes. But at the same time, you can't even so much as drop an elbow with this figure. So, statue-wise, great figure. As a wrestler, it makes it the worst figure ever created. And it's a shame because it's got good color and it's a fantastic figure for the most part, design-wise. But fighting-wise, you look at this. You can't do anything with that. So, way overrated figure. $20 figure, to be honest. And this is a $200-$300 figure sometimes. So, here's another one I think is overrated. Billy Jack Haynes is actually one of my favorite figures, fighting-wise. And I've gone back and YouTube and watched some old wrestling matches. And I actually really enjoy his matches. He seems like a lot of fun. This is a phenomenal figure. Love it. I think I would classify this as an elite figure. It's that good. But I've seen this guy selling on eBay for about $80 to $100. Love the figure, but again, I mean, anything short of Series 6, I don't think any of those guys should go for more than, $70, to be honest. Outback Jack, $70 to $100. I've seen him sell on eBay. And some of these figures, I try to buy again because I want duplicates. So the originals I'm not touching, and then duplicates I'll use for like my matches or something. Great figure, probably in the top 25, top 30 of my all-time favorite LJNs, but not a $100 figure at all. So these guys I just bought recently, and when I did my Remco video, I mentioned that I probably wasn't gonna go much further, and if I did, these were the two guys I really wanted, and it was Abdullah the Butcher and Carlos Colon. I was very fortunate. I submitted an offer for $100 for these guys, and I got them. So, but normally you see these two selling together, and Carlos Colon doesn't even come with the little clothing accessory or the belt. He just two bare-chested figures, and they normally sell for like $150+. It's Remco, guys. I never look at Remco as being a premier toy line. To me, the Remco figures are mostly just like copycats of other figures, but I mean, still they're two of my favorite Remco's wrestlers, AWA wrestlers, and I was super glad to get them. Did I want to pay $100 for them? Ridiculous, super overpriced, and these figures, I think they're like $5 figures, $10, $15, $20 maybe, but $150? No. Super glad to have them. They're elite figures among the Remco collection, but I do not value them as high as others on the platform. Now, Carlos Colon, I've never actually heard of Carlos Colon up until, I want to say 1992. it just seems like 1992 was the year everybody partook in the Royal Rumble. So that year you had Macho Man, you had Ultimate Warrior, Hogan, Rude, Ric Flair. You had Undertaker. Who am I missing? Just any of the big shots of the World Wrestling Federation were part of that part of that Royal Rumble. And even though I didn't know who Carlos Colon was, the second I saw this figure with this outfit, immediately jumped to my head because I remember him running down the aisle in this outfit, jumping in the ring. Carlos Colon. I've never heard of him when I watched that Royal Rumble back in the day, and up until recently, I completely forgot about it. But like I said, the figure based on the clothing accessory, I was able to pick him out immediately, know exactly who he was. But I don't think Carlos Colon wrestled in WWF past that event. I mean, I could be wrong. I don't remember him in anything other than that one event. Otherwise, so there's those figures. I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here. Here's another one. So this is a new purchase. I got this in a couple weeks ago. This was not part of my original review. So I'm super glad to finally get this one. And this is the Blue Bloods from original San Francisco Toy Makers. So we have Earl Robert, and then we've got Steven Regal. I couldn't tell you who Steven Regal was for the longest time. I kept hearing that name for AWA, and then of course for these figures. It wasn't until I actually looked at this backing and saw the face. Once I saw the face, I knew immediately who he was, because I remember watching wrestling and as a little kid and thinking to myself, every time he wrestled, he looked like he was just crying his guts out. Not because he was injured or anything, it just the facial expression that he makes, it just looks like he is just nonstop crying. And it was just super weird. And these are actually two really phenomenal figures. I love this box set. It's actually becoming one of my favorites very quickly. This will sell online for around $200+. Again, I'm one of the lucky guys. I got it for a great price. I paid around $100 for it. And again, to get this for $100 when it's selling for $250 on so many other sites. So these are just a few of the figures that I feel are severely overrated. Big Josh would be another one. Galoob didn't really do many things right, as I said before, and $200 to $300 for a Big Josh figure, no. And I'll talk about this Big Josh figure again in a few minutes when I do my next video. The next video is going to be the third video today, and it's going to be a follow-up or a revision of sorts of the original Galoob figures I did. So I said in the last video, Galoob didn't really get much traction viewer-wise when I did those two videos. So I'm hoping by breaking it down only by the UK exclusives this time around, per the request of one of my fans, that it does get a little bit more viewership. So again, that will be episode or video 3 today, which means it probably won't be uploaded until next Sunday, which would be May 8th. And yeah, so that means we'll be covered for today, Thursday, and next Sunday. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I do apologize for the 30+ minutes videos. I really didn't want it to take that long, but again, I guess I'm a talker sometimes. When you actually meet me in real life, I'm actually, very composed. I don't say too much, for the most part, but doing these videos, it definitely makes things a lot easier. Thanks again, everyone, and I will talk to y'all soon. Goodbye for now.